Hey there, folks. Welcome to my channel, Technology and Hobby. And at first, I want to apologize that I wasn't making any videos for a very long period of time. And I've decided to go back to the roots and shoot this video about smartphone cinematography again. Yes, I mentioned in my previous videos that I've purchased Canon EOS M as my main shooting rig, and the videos that I was posting on a YouTube was shot specifically on that camera. Right now I'm using that camera, like to shoot this vlog, and I'm using a Industar 69 28mm 2.8 f2.8 aperture lens. This is a vintage lens, and I'm shooting in CineStyle. I'm not shooting in RAW because I don't need any RAW right now. So, why I came back to this, even though I mentioned that I'm gonna put my smartphone to the rest because I'm not gonna be needing it anymore because quality is not there. But one of my friends actually contacted me and asked me that he recently purchased a same Nokia phone, this same Nokia 6.1. He's a guy on a budget, okay? I mean, he cannot afford himself, some fancy iPhone or Galaxy. So this phone was pretty much, a phone to go for him. He didn't like Xiaomi for some reason. I don't know, even thought that I actually, recommended him a Xiaomi, Redmi Note 7 because it has obviously had a better camera module and a better camera sensor, of course. But he somewhat, felt attracted to this phone. I mean, look at this. I mean, it's beautiful. It's more luxurious. Look at the quality materials. It's actually made out of a solid block aluminum, which acts not only a protection but acts as a heat sink as well. So you can record like continuous, 4K, log-ish footage on this. So he asked me that how can he get a cinematic look? Even thought that, in my previous videos, if you look on them, they are soft because camera sensor on this is 1/3.2 or 3.4 inches. This is a small camera sensor, even smaller than in some iPhones, some older versions of iPhones, and it doesn't matter how you sharpen it, it's still soft. So I told him that you don't have to look for a solutions of these negative of these negatives of this smartphone. You have to use it as your benefit. For example, I figured out throughout the entire time of me shooting videos, I figured out that one of the guy from YouTube actually posted that quality still wasn't there, but still pulling off a video quality of that state in my previous videos was nothing short of a miracle. Yeah, I agree to that, but then I start to think, okay, what if I cannot get the crisp, 4K footage out of this? It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It's Zeiss optics. It doesn't matter that it can shoot 4K. It doesn't matter if you add more bits to this. No, just cannot do it because there's still limitations to this smartphone. It's not a Galaxy S7. It's not an iPhone. It's none of these smartphones. Okay, so then I thought, maybe I can use this grainy and non-sharpened look to my benefit. So I figured out that, vintage look. This is the way to go right now, because if you have this kind of smartphone and you can't get the same quality look as like other YouTubers out there, you can make an excuse that this is your style. I figured out that my style is go vintage, go this kind of old vintage film look, which is grainy, which is scratched up, celluloid look to it. It's more of a, like how should I say it, a nostalgia, like you can add more nostalgia to your footage. I mean, and you can say like so what if my smartphone is not sharp enough, or so what if my smartphone is like not like good enough in terms of a video and photo as well in this point. This video was shot intentionally, like because in this way, intentionally, because I was going for this vintage look. You can add more grain to your footage in post-production and add more scratches and widescreen bars, and like you can shoot like 24 frames per second with this, and you can shoot like in a log profile, for example, with this specific, because this phone, this Nokia smartphone has a camera 2 API built in, so you can get like a little bit more, a little bit more out of your camera using some of the software. But just don't use the built-in camera software. Like this is, oh god, this is so bad. Oh yeah, I mean like the bit rate is low. I mean the footage is over sharpened. It's like terrible mess. So don't use the built-in camera application. You can use applications like Open Camera. Here, let me focus it. Sorry for a manual focus right there, but it's this is the only lens I have right now. So you can use your Open Camera settings right there. Let me bump down the screen brightness so you can see properly, just like that. So you can use this to actually shoot in log, and then color grade it. And like in post, let me just set this to a proper exposure right there, 1/50th of a shutter speed. There we go, and let's add some ISO to this. And as you can see, I mean, you can do some Kelvins like this. Like I like to use like Kelvins up to from 32 all the way up to 5600, because this is the best, like how should I say it, golden middle. If you want to shoot this vintage style, this vintage, you want to add this kind of vintage look to it. So I usually do this, and I'm shooting in 24 frames per second. Let me see if I had this. Oh, it's 30 frames per second, 24, and here we go. You can do some little bit more, tweaking in post, just because you have this log footage. You can add some grain. You can add some scratches in a footage, just like a old celluloid, and then export it, add some vintage sound effects like music or something, just like I did in my previous videos, and you're good to go. This will become your style, if you're shooting in this with this kind of equipment. So what I'm pointing at is like after this this conversation with my friend, I thought that I will return to this topic once more and make this video. So he's on a budget, as I said, and he didn't have enough money to actually buy some something like Nokia 7.1 or even 7 Plus. This is a best way to go if you want to have some decent camera performance. So, oh, sorry, it's out of focus. Let me focus it. Here we go. So, I can say that if you want to, do some vintage cinematography, like to pull the best quality out of your camera as you can, you can add some rigs to it. Like you can have a rig like this. Like put the smartphone. This is a B-script clone. You can add your smartphone like this. Align your smartphone camera to this hole over there. You can add some accessories to this, like a mic, this cheap mic right there. If you want to shoot some like run and gun shooting like that, it's actually pretty good for gripping and stabilizing. Then you can add some tripod to this, like screw it over there. You can add a wide angle lenses, just like this. This is a wide angle plus macro lens over there. You can see that. Just unscrew it and it becomes a macro lens. So but then I thought that this guy barely collected money for a brand new smartphone, so he definitely cannot afford this kind of, even though that these equipment, these things are cheap. Like microphone costed like $6, this costed like $20, and some tripod from a local store, like in my currency, it's like 15 Georgian laris in like US dollars. It's might I don't know, $6 I guess for this tripod, and some other lenses. These are like like $6 again. Just regular lenses over there, like wide angle and macro lenses. You can get you can get like pretty interesting shots with this, even thought that they're not that quality lenses, but if you want to add some sort of a unique style of yours, you can still get that. So this is a wide angle lens, a small wide angle lens like that, cheapo ones. So he cannot afford these things. Okay, well, so I did a small video shots, like and I have edited it in post, added some grain effects. I mean, he's actually pretty familiar with a Sony Vegas, so I gave him an idea how to package a video coming from the smartphone in a way that people would not say, oh, your video sucks, but in a way that this video was intentionally made this way, so it could look like vintage, like this old celluloid vintage stuff. So I took away all these accessories that I've just shown up, and I just used this where this is all gone. I just used this power bank, because you're going to use your power, because once you shoot a video, a continuous video on this phone, like battery dies quickly. You're going to use the power bank. This power bank costed like, I don't know, like $5 and like 10 Georgian laris in my currency. I also use this cheap flash cards. This is like 4 gigabyte. This is like 16 gigabyte. They cost like, I don't know, from 9 to 12 Georgian laris. This is like almost $6 to $5 in US. I also use this OTG adapter to actually dump the files from the phone, and I used a double-sided tape and polarized filters, and I mount a polarized filter on the back, so I could step down to 1/50th of a shutter speed and use this at 24 frames per second, to actually get more filmic look. So right now I'm gonna include some video clips from this smartphone, edited in vintage way, and you'll be the judge. So, well, thanks for watching, and enjoy the video footage.
such a wave. There's no more we need to say. Yeah.